Hey guys, sharing a little e.l.f. haul and reviews in this video today. Why do we like these videos? I think it's because they are big hits and big misses. There's not always a lot of in between here, and sometimes the things that I like, I really love actually from e.l.f. and then some things that don't work just fail miserably. So today's video is a mix of some makeup and some skincare. I tried to stick to a lot of new things because these were the things that I hadn't previously tried from the line. So one new thing is this new brush that they have. It's called the Pointed Powder Brush, and they are coming out with more and more brushes that have this sort of two-toned look to the bristles. They're synthetic, very, very soft, and most of what I had had before was more of like a tightly packed brush, the kind of thing that would be like a dense blending, buffing foundation brush. So I thought it was cool to see them come out with something that was a little bit larger like this. And it does kind of remind me of a couple of different things I'll pull out here. I have this brush that's kind of like egg-shaped from IT Cosmetics. It doesn't have a specific name on it, but you know, really nice, fluffy, just super tapered brush there. And then also Real Techniques has a brush very similar to this one, but the e.l.f. is a little bit more pointed, I guess, toward the top, but still pretty softly pointed, I would say. If you already own that Real Techniques blush brush and you're happy with it, I don't necessarily think you need to go out in search of this one because they're very, very similar. But there is a reason why I like this kind of a brush. When you're using a brush, it's always, you know, the ends of the brush hairs that are actually able to pick up the product. So here, when it's so tapered and you've got all of these different lengths in here, you're able to really utilize so much of the brush in different ways. You can kind of lay it flat into your product and get a lot right there on the side, or use it more on the tip and you could highlight with that end, you could apply blush with that smaller surface area. So I guess bottom line, I do like this brush. I was happy with this purchase. Another brush that I think is super versatile from e.l.f. is the complexion brush, and I like this because see how when you turn it sideways it's got a little bit of narrowness to it. It can really be a great like contour brush or all over the face powder brush. It's got some nice taper here toward the end, and I just think it's so like user friendly and easy, and this is kind of along those lines for being really versatile but just a different shape to work with. And I have no complaints really about the softness of that complexion brush, but this, whatever they're working with here, these really fine brush hairs are very, very soft, like little baby bunny soft, so I do like that. And yes, if you're wondering about that reference, I have petted a baby bunny before. This next thing that I got in the new category on e.l.f.'s website is this highlighting and blending sponge, they call it. It says a dual-ended sculpting sponge that provides highlighting on one side and blending on the other. So you've got an angled side right here, and then this side is flocked. It's like kind of fuzzy. This is one of those makeup tools that I kind of look at and I'm kind of scratching my head for a second thinking, how best do I use this? What is the real intention here? Because I take a lot of sponges and I dampen them under the sink, but with this flocked end, I didn't figure that would end up drying, and that really needs to be dry for its intended purpose, so I'm using this dry. Actually, one thing I did with this end, because see how it's got a little bit of a, I don't know, taper here toward that part of it, I thought that might be nice for baking, so I did bake my under eye area with that side today, and I thought it laid down the powder pretty nicely. But that being said, there are tons of sponges on the market right now. I did a whole video on sponges that have this kind of slant wedge cut to them, so it's not like this sponge is absolutely necessary for that purpose. But do I really see myself applying powder or liquid highlights with a dry sponge? I don't really think so. That's what they say. They say the angled side of the sponge applies product flawlessly for an illuminating effect, but actually I just kind of like using the flocked side for a little bit of highlight, and I thought that applied it pretty nicely. The actual highlight that I put on today, it's pretty subtle, but it's the Benefit Dandelion Twinkle. So I kind of dabbed this product in there, and I'll do it again just real quick, and then I kind of just blotted it. It was sort of a blotting feel right across the top of my cheekbone. So I guess I see that side of the sponge is sort of both applying and blending out, but I don't know that I love it more than just using a small brush, you know, to apply highlight right on top of the cheekbone. But please let me know if you have a product, this one or something from another brand that's similar to this. How do you most like using it? Like, what's your essential function for this? Here's something I absolutely love from e.l.f. Their lip palettes. They put out a lip palette called like the Runway Ready lip palette, the first one they did, and it had such a nice selection selection of colors, a really nice texture, great pigmentation. We're not talking like just sheer do nothing type of lip products packed into a palette. Wet n Wild, I'm looking at you with this crazy old thing over here. This is not like a play makeup lip palette. It's a legit good lip palette with a nice mirror, a brush included, and so they put out this 2 version. And I'll show you this other one just so you have a little comparison in terms of the color selection, because I really like the color selection on this first one. I thought it was super varied. You know, you had really deep dark like berries, reds, little purpley shade, pink, nude. It really ran the gamut. This newer one, the lip palette 2, I see it being a little more springy. The shades are a bit lighter. There's a wonderful coral in here that I'm wearing on my lips today. Kind of a light nude and a really soft pink. I love this neutral shade in here. I think any lip palette really benefits from a shade that's kind of soft, not too pronounced in terms of being really pinky or red, but a little bit more of a just a neutral dusty rose, because you can blend that in with any of these shades and kind of contour your lips almost a little bit with it and just take any color down a notch. Gorgeous pink right here with just like a hint of an orchid vibe, and then this shade looks kind of reddish at a glance, but it's got a lot of pink to it too, a very pinky red. But as far as lip palettes go, you know, there are so many that come out, like for example the one with Wet n Wild doesn't even contain a mirror. You know, if you're going to even think about taking this on the go with you, the palette itself needs to be fairly compact, it needs to have a mirror, and it needs to have a brush included. Those are the things that have to happen for this to be at least somewhat handy, because I think applying a product, you know, separately with the lip brush and using the palette is never going to be quite as no fuss, no muss as just grabbing a quick lipstick or lip gloss from your purse, you know? I mean, if we're all honest there, that's the easiest way to go about it. But lip palettes can be fun, especially when you're into sort of blending your custom shade and stuff like that. On my lips today, I'm wearing a lot of the coral, like I said, a little bit of this shade right beside it, just kind of on the outsides, but I think it's just beautiful. The textures on these two, not too slippery, not too thin. They're not just shiny lip products packed into a palette here and you can't differentiate one shade from the next. They are each pigmented. They are each their own unique shade. If you like the first palette and now you're looking for just a little bit lighter, you know, color variation for this time of year, I think this is awesome. You won't be disappointed by it. Another lip product new that e.l.f. has put out is a tinted lip oil. And I want to show you the packaging here because they have kind of stepped it up a little bit from e.l.f.'s typical tube doe foot type applicator products. This is a little bit more weighty, a little bit bigger tube, but at the same time, you know, don't be fooled. You're not getting like a ton more product, because when you look at it this way, you can tell it's just a lot of surrounding packaging, right? But just the feel of it, it feels a little more expensive typically than e.l.f.'s tube products are. But it's a doe foot applicator. I have this in the shade Coral Kiss. And yeah, lip oils, tinted lip oils seem to be kind of a trend that brands are putting out right now. I had most recently tried some from Burt's Bees and they were very, very thin. They were like literal just lip oil, no added like thickness or real tackiness to it. This doesn't feel quite as thin as that did. To best describe this, like take your vision of a typical lip gloss. Let's say it's a little bit on the thick side, very shiny, and just thin that consistency down a little bit, and that's what you got with the e.l.f. tinted lip oil. And it's going to be sheer. You know, you can tell by what you're seeing here. It's not totally what you see is what you get as far as looking at the tube. You're not going to see color that full on your lips. And if you're looking into Coral Kiss, don't expect it to come off as like super orangey either. It's more like just kind of a soft pink on my lips, and it feels nice enough. It's not one of those things that I'm shouting from the rooftops, everybody needs this. There's nothing incredibly unique about it. Just think of it as a slightly thinner, softer feeling gloss. One way I actually did kind of like to wear it was I put this on lightly, like I didn't goop it on too thick, but it just gave my lips some nice moisture, and then I went on with a couple shades from the lip palette. That was like a quick, easy way to give my lips a more like moisturizing treatment almost alongside these shades. But you could really take that step with any balm that you love underneath these colors just to make it even more moisturizing. So again, not a total must. I tried out 3 new skincare items from e.l.f. 2 of them are pretty good. One of them is like the worst product ever. And let me guess, you want to hear about that worst product right now. It's the e.l.f. Nourishing Oil to Foam Cleanser. So me and this product started off on the wrong foot when it arrived, having leaked out quite a bit, kind of out of this bottle and into its box that it was packaged in, and even out of that box it had leaked a little bit more. It didn't obviously ruin any of my other products, but you know, that was not cool. And it's something around where this twists on, I think, is where it leaked out of. Now you can see how thin this product appears to be. I mean, it looks like the thinness of water in there, and it's coming out of this pump, and it actually squirts out with a ton of force. It goes everywhere when I squirt it out of this bottle, because you've got something as thin as water that you're trying to kind of contain and think, okay, I'm just going to put this in the palm of my hand here, and it comes out so quickly and so forcefully out of this pump that it goes everywhere. And then the smell of this product, all I can think of is soap initially, but old soap. This is gonna sound so weird, but like if you had an old musty cabinet or something and you smelled the wood in that cabinet, that's kind of what this smells like. There is absolutely nothing appealing about the scent of this product to me. Now you're supposed to apply it to dry skin and gently massage in a circular motion to cleanse, wet hands and face to work into a rich lather. Now it does go from oil to foam. It does kind of suds up for you. But I did not think it did a good job of effectively removing my makeup, because I tried to use that product and that alone to get rid of it, and I could tell because I followed up with a face washcloth, and I could see all of the stuff that this thing missed. But on top of that, it burned on my eye area so bad. In the scope of all the products I use, I feel like very few things irritate my eyes, but that really did not feel good. So we've got potentially a problem with the actual bottle, with it being leaky. I don't like the way it comes out of the bottle. I don't like the way it smells, and it burns my eyes, and it doesn't really remove makeup well. Need I say more? Something I tried and did like is this Illuminating Moisturizer with SPF 15. I feel like I've got probably a handful of products that claim to be illuminating moisturizers, and none of them contain SPF. So that really causes me not to reach for them very often, you know, for my morning skincare. This does not smell bad. It just has kind of like a light sunscreeny type of scent, but it's very, very pronounced on the illuminating effect. And I kind of like that, because, you know, you buy something that says illuminating moisturizer, it's nice when it actually does what it says it will do. But do you see the glow kind of bouncing off of my hand there? Even after this is pretty much fully rubbed in, it's very glowy. This would be good for a person who wants to add some glow to their skin, but not too much weight. It still feels very lightweight on the skin. You're getting some moisture there, but it's not too heavy. And you can look very closely at it, and there's no identifiable bits of anything. I can't see any shimmer in it. I just see some glowiness coming through. So that's kind of a cool product. I was really glad I got that. Final thing that I tried skincare wise were these Hydrogel under eye masks. It says with purified water, seaweed extract, and licorice. And this little box contains 3 sets of single-use eye masks. So when you get them out of the box, they're in these little pouches, so they're totally sealed, nothing's gonna come out. And then you take out this little tray, and everything's kind of goopy when you take out the tray, just so you're aware. There's a lot of moisturizing type serum that's surrounding these little patches. And on the back here it says actual size, so they are kind of contoured just to fit right in here. They're see-through, just gel looking, very, very thin little patches that you just lay down there. And it says after cleansing, remove patches from their packet, place individually under each eye for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you discard the patches after use and pat in any excess formula. Now I used these at nighttime last night, and it was funny because I was so tired. I was really on the verge of just sitting in my chair falling asleep, but I had these on and I couldn't help but feel so awake still. It was really weird. I wanted to fall asleep, but my eyes just couldn't have that tired feeling because these felt so nice and cooling. Even if they don't feel incredibly cooling when you first put them on, just let them sit there for a couple minutes. After the first 2-3 minutes, they start to feel even more cooling under the eye. What I came away with thinking was this would be a nice thing to use on a special day before makeup application. You know, it would be a great way to prep the skin, because I looked at my skin afterwards and I thought, yeah, yeah, it feels really nicely hydrated, but whatever serum that these are kind of soaked with does not feel greasy at all. So you can rub it in and you can feel like, yeah, that feels nice. I could apply makeup on top of this. It wasn't anything weird that I felt like, oh, I gotta get this off my skin now, right? It felt really nice. The whole under eye area felt nicely hydrated, really refreshed, and then I was, you know, ready to go to bed. So use these in the morning. If you do makeup, this would be a nice like pre-makeup step on a bride or I don't know, whoever. Oh, and they also stayed on really nicely. I was not concerned whatsoever about these like moving around on my skin or slipping off. I didn't have to even touch them once I put them on. So yeah, that's really all I've got as far as new e.l.f. stuff right now. I'd love to hear if you've tried any new e.l.f. things, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked. Just looking in front of me at what I've talked about here, I mean, the worst thing, obviously, this oil to foam cleanser, not cool. But I was really most impressed with the lip palette. I like the Illuminating Moisturizer. Really like these little under eye patches too. And then my middle ground would be that lip oil and the highlighting sponge. I don't know. Until I find a really like perfect use for this, I'm not seeing it as too much of a must-have. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope this was useful to you as always, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye. I waved with my left hand. I always wave with my right hand. Okay, bye.